it doesn't really matter, it just depends on what you might prefer. Like maybe you have a broader area, you want to put some charcoal down in, you can use the side of a big stick like this, right? Or maybe you just have a really small moment where you need some darkness, right? So then you just, kind of shape it to what you need. So these are nice because you can get an edge with them. They come in different hardnesses, just like pencils. So there's some 2B over there, there's some 4B, there's some 6B charcoal. But charcoal is so soft, in the end, you might not even notice a difference. But if you want to get a little piece of paper like this over there, I have it by the charcoal, just to kind of experiment with it first, just get a feel for it before you put it on your drawing, you can do that. Okay? So going back to our drawings, I wanted to talk to you, besides, using, like you can see on the vase, I've started to add an overall sense of how dark it is, right? This is a black vase. So I need to show how different it is from the white skull, right, in terms of value. So you can go in there with your compressed charcoal, start adding some darks, still keeping those highlights. You can still pull out your highlights on top of compressed charcoal, you just have to work a little harder to get them out, right? As far as reflection goes, like reflections on things, most of you are doing a great job with this already, but I wanted to stress that it's all about seeing shapes, right? Like if I look in here, I can actually see a shape of all of the windows, right, as one of my highlights. So, you do want to try to recreate those reflection shapes that you're seeing. And that'll make it look realistic, if you want that. Okay? Going back to fabric. A lot of you are going to start on your fabric soon, right? So fabric, a couple tips I have about fabric. The first is to remember it's like a waterfall. So some of you are looking away, so make sure you're paying attention, right? First is that it's like a waterfall. So it has a point where it starts and it flows down from there, right? The second thing is that it's all about triangles, right? Seeing different triangles. So I'm going to put in with my vine charcoal right now some lines that I see, as far as where my fabric's coming from. It's coming from under the book, so I always find that starting place like a waterfall and flow it down from there. The second major thing that's going on in my drawing is I have this point right here. And there's some triangles and some lines leading down from that point. So I'm going to draw those in with the vine charcoal, so I'm not fully committed because it's vine charcoal, right? Where are those happening? All coming from there, like if a ruler could lead back to that point. Whoops. It's okay. Okay, thank you. And now I can start adding, the other thing about fabric is usually it's very contrasty. Like there's a very dark spot right next to a highlight, right? So I'm going to put some of that dark in. With the compressed charcoal, you can blend it with your finger. You can blend it with the chamois if you want to, right? So you can make some different darks within it. Okay, and then I have my highlight shape right next door. So I'm going to pull that out again with my eraser. And that then will come out in space, right? Slowly adding lights and darks. Okay, so you can work with the compressed charcoal. Just remember that you want to use it kind of sparingly, right? Squint your eyes and find where the darks are. This is the last thing, I forgot to tell this in the last class. Do not have outlines around shapes, right? Outlines are for cartoons. The only way that I can tell that, like, if I'm looking at Serena right now, right? I can tell where Serena's hair ends and where the background starts. But the way that I can tell that while looking at her is that there's a shape beginning and ending there, and there's different values. The background is a lot lighter than Serena's hair, right? So the way that you're going to show one thing beginning and another, or one thing ending and another one beginning, like let's say the edge of the skull, instead of having a dark line around it like most of you have right now, like lighten that up, and maybe the background is slightly darker than the skull, right? So it's one value meeting another. That's how you can see where a shape ends, right? So if you have outlines, kind of lighten them up and think about which value is darker, which one's lighter, right? Okay, I'll help. Let me know if you need help by raising your hand, okay? Of course you can.